This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at thebatmanuniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Scarecrows frightened of the clouds, laughing boys. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine and signal, come out to play. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Bring it on, Batman. Jump out your cave, 'cause I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine that signal, come out and play. I am a Batman.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 238 of A Dublin Dane. My name is Tim, and joining me, as always, is Dane himself. Currently not in Dublin, but he's here with us today on this podcast. So. Dane, how's it going?
It's going good, Tim. How have you been?
I've been okay. Just getting excited for what's been a pretty awesome month of Star Wars. And as we're recording this episode right now, Saturday, May 21st, we're about to enter a really, really huge week of Star Wars with Celebration coming up next weekend. And of course, the premiere of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So a lot of cool stuff has been happening with Star Wars in the month of May. We've had, obviously, May the 4th, May the Obi-Wan Kenobi second trailer that came out that week. Vanity Fair just came out with a big article previewing the new TV shows coming out. So just a lot of great Star Wars stuff this month. It's been awesome. But
Yeah.
as we'll talk about later on, another big thing in Star Wars had a milestone. And I'm looking forward to talking about that.
I wonder what that could be, Tim.
The biggest one of all, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah, the day that Jar Jar was created, right? That's it. Okay. I have a lot of things to say about Jar Jar.
I'd love to hear them, actually.
Well, Jar Jar gets a lot of flack, and I don't think he deserves it. Sure, he is
No, he
a
doesn't.
goofy person, but that's what he was created to be. And he was also created to be a political device, I guess you could say, right? About how you have to pay attention and you can't be a goofball when it comes to certain things, right?
Yeah, and how easily you can be manipulated if you're not careful.
Sure. You can easily be manipulated by the right person. In this case, it is Palpatine.
Yes.
But I like Jar Jar. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about Jar Jar.
I was preparing myself for some deep philosophical thoughts you had on the character that was just going to blow my mind. But I guess I like Jar Jar.
Yeah, I don't think philosophy and Jar Jar really go hand in hand. But I mean, I'm sure there's a diamond in the rough that we could probably talk through or find.
I'm sure someone can make that work.
Yeah.
But I guess before, as always, getting into the nitty-gritty of our episode, we got to kick things off, continuing our minute-by-minute commentary of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, as we are getting closer to the half-hour mark.
One second. Before we get to that, would you be in agreement if I said that all of the Jedi that we see in the prequels, all the Jedi that we've seen so far, with the exception of Rey, maybe? Rey Ahsoka maybe have largely been failures,
Well, that's the legacy of the Jedi, really. I mean, Luke says it in The Last
right?
Jedi. The
Okay,
legacy of the Jedi is failure.
I just wanted to sort of run that by you just in case, because kind of a controversial thing, especially with like this Kenobi thing coming up, and like people praising like, oh, Obi-Wan is the greatest Jedi, or so and so was the greatest Jedi, and he did this or she did that, or stuff like that. And I was like, wait, but like they failed as an institution, and they essentially gave Palpatine a reason to become an evil space dictator. So, and they failed to see what was right in front of their faces for the most part. So, like, they've largely been failures, right? That makes sense, right?
Yeah,
You
the
know,
Order as a whole, yes, there's especially that area, but
yeah,
individuals, there's great Jedi, and even with failure, you could still overcome it and still like, embody what it means to be a Jedi, which I think Obi-Wan does, despite his failure with training Anakin. So, but as a
yeah.
whole, yes, I totally agree that even Luke says it in Last Jedi. The legacy of the Jedi is failure.
And I guess you could say that's one of the best parts of the prequels, at least. I mean the sequels, for me anyway, where it's like, you know, they sort of realize that, oh, okay, so like the Jedi as an organization, as an order,
Hmm.
as honestly like a political body, as we come to find out in the later prequel movies and Clone Wars, that like that Rey cannot follow exactly what they did, and I know a lot of people have problems with that, and a lot of I mean, that's why people hate the Last Jedi. But like, you got to realize that, you know, as an order, as a political body, as all these different things, the Jedi were largely a failure, and so like with the sequels, like they realized that, oh no, Rey has to go and do her own thing and figure it out by herself rather than be taught by you know uh, people that have failed and before her. So and I know that's why a lot of people hate the Last Jedi, but that's why I love it.
Yeah, that's like even going into it, I was totally on board with with Luke's frame of mind in that movie as far as the Jedi Order needing to die because it didn't work. And if they didn't go this route, because obviously by the end of the sequel trilogy established that Rey's going to be, they even say it at the end of The Last Jedi, Luke, I will not be the last Jedi. Rey's going to continue on the legacy. So the Jedi legacy will continue, obviously.
Sure.
But I was okay with it if they kind of put an end. The Jedi Order did end with Luke and Rey just started something totally different. Not necessarily being called Jedi, but starting a new organization. I thought that would have been an interesting way to go, and I would have been all aboard for that. But I could see it is a hard thing to fully close the book on the Jedi Order in Star Wars, so I can understand why it needs to continue. But it is definitely something that's very interesting to talk about and discuss as far as how different the Jedi need to be for them to actually rebuild and survive this time moving forward past the Rise of Skywalker. Which I hope we do get stories about that somewhere down the line.
I don't know. A lot of those plans have been halted, so we'll see what happens.
It was always in motion is the future. Always gotta remember those lines from Yoda.
Yoda has a line for everything.
Oh yes, he does.
Right? Anyway,
Okay.
sorry for interrupting.
No, come on, Dave. It's tradition now. You have to interrupt me at least once per episode.
At least 17 times per episode.
There might have been one where it was that many times. But continuing with our minute by minute commentary, we're going to go from minute 26 to minute 27. And As always, you can go ahead and grab your VHS copy, your DVD copy, Laserdisc copy, your HD DVD copy, your Betamax tape, Netflix physical media, your Blockbuster video membership, and your DVHS player, and our favorite, your converted VHS to DVD copy. So if you have any of those, go ahead and mark it to the 26 minute, and I'll give the countdown. Are you ready, Dane?
You just forgot the PS Vita slash
PS UMD, that's what it was.
yeah, UMD, right? Yeah, if you just so happen to have a copy of that of Lord of the Rings or on UMD, definitely grab that.
In fact, that's what I'm going to grab right now.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have a PSP lying around somewhere.
I do. It's a Darth Vader themed PSP too.
Oh, of course it is. Of course. Tim, what kind of underwear are you wearing today? Darth Vader? Oh, okay, got it. I could just assume that. What kind of T-shirt are you wearing today? Oh, a Luke Skywalker one? Of course. I totally knew that.
Actually,
what kind of?
I was gonna say, actually, the T-shirt I'm wearing is the Star Wars, the classic Queen album cover, the second album with all four of them with their heads on the album cover. So I got one of that where it's Palpatine, Darth Vader, Maul, and Kylo Ren. That's what I'm currently wearing.
You didn't have to tell me that, Tim. I just assumed it.
But I had to give you the exact description of what type of Star Wars shirt I'm wearing today.
Wow, what kind of toothbrush do you have? Oh, a yellow toothbrush? Of course you do, Tim. What kind of toothpaste did you use? Oh, an Obi-Wan theme toothpaste. Oh, okay, of course.
You're actually reminding me, Dane. I should probably go see if there's any Obi-Wan Kenobi merchandise tie-ins going on right now for that type of stuff. That I should probably
sure.
get.
I'm sure. No, was Kenobi the one that I don't think it was the Disney Plus show that people were getting mad at and canceling their Disney Plus subscription.
Well, it hasn't aired yet, but I'm sure once it airs, there'll be those who are mad.
Yeah. What was it? Damn, I can't remember. Oh, Lightyear. It was Lightyear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Forgetting all that.
That's not even going to be on Disney Plus, though.
Was it Lightyear? Yeah, because there was was there like a like two women kiss, or is it two men kiss or something?
I don't know. I haven't heard. I'm sure there is controversy, but I haven't heard any controversy myself regarding Lightyear. I just seen the trailers for it. That's it. But it wouldn't surprise me if people are getting upset about something.
Yeah. Okay, so when Kenobi comes out and I don't know, Ewan McGregor's beard isn't exactly like it was in Revenge of the Sith. That's it. I'm gonna cancel my Disney Plus subscription. That's it. Had it with Disney Plus for some reason.
I'm sorry to lead you, Dan. I guess I'll have to talk about the series by myself.
Yeah. Yep. You will.
Because spoiler alert, I think his beard will be different because it has been 10 years since Revenge of the Sith. So
no, people don't change their beards or haircuts in 10 years.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Anyway, let's get to our
2 interruptions now.
Yeah, it's gonna be your version of a drinking game, Tim, except you're gonna be drinking water.
Yeah.
Every time I interrupt you, just take a drink.
So I'll be well hydrated for this episode. Okay, so if you're ready, I'll give the countdown.
I am.
3, 2, 1, play. As Gandalf thinks Bilbo's quite clever with that little trick. Again, more great use of their techniques that they're using to have the height difference between Gandalf and Bilbo here that still looks impressive 20 years later, or going to be 21 years later now. At least we finally made it out of the party scene, Dane.
I don't know. We're still kind of in it because
No, I think we're out of it.
Isn't there a follow-up with Frodo after this? There is, right?
Yeah, but I mean, the party's over. Bilbo's gone. We're in his hobbit hole. We're not in the party. I am taking it as we're officially done with that.
See, like I was saying, the ring looks bigger. See, like right here, when he's holding it in his two hands, looks way bigger than he could fit on his finger.
It is interesting. Like I said, that was a thought I never even considered when thinking about how the ring fits into everyone's different hand sizes and stuff. But
Well,
now you're going to
Tim,
be having me looking at that every time someone holds the ring and attempts to put it on.
Well, Tim, I am, a movie expert and Lord of the Rings expert, as you know. So, yeah, that's for a layman like yourself, Tim. I can understand why you didn't pick up on that.
Yes, I defer to you now, as all my Lord of the Ring questions will go to you.
No, I just started noticing that because, like, I don't know, like it looked like that scene we just saw where it looked giant in between Bilbo's fingers. He's holding in both of his hands, but then, like, when the ring goes on Frodo's hand, it fits him perfectly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more ring changes or ring sizes changes in the future minute by minute commentary episodes.
Yeah.
Facts and details you'll only get here.
Because nobody else is crazy enough to do a minute by minute commentary on one of the longest movies out there.
I haven't seen it yet. But with that, I guess we can go ahead and mention our feature topic, which I alluded to is going to be more fun Star Wars talk, probably mainly for me, but because we recently had a big milestone for one of the Star Wars movies, which is the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, which in itself is just so hard to believe. And I want to take every opportunity to celebrate that and talk about it because I feel it is the most underrated Star Wars movie. And while it's not my favorite Star Wars movie, I love it more than I know a lot of other fans do. And it's in my top 5 in my rankings of all the Star Wars films. And there's just so much that I love about it, and just want to go back to that time when it came out back in 2002 and remembering what it was like and celebrating the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. So, Dane, I know you're younger than me, but you did see this one in the theater, correct?
Yeah, I saw all the prequels
Okay, good.
in the theaters. In fact, I've seen all of the Star Wars movies in the theaters. Yeah.
Oh, well,
with the exception of Clone Wars.
I know that's for a lot of people, but I'm so glad I could say that is not the exception for me. I could say I've seen every Star Wars movie in the theater, even Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen all of them in theaters.
Nice. And so leading up to the release of Attack of the Clones, obviously there's fandom. I mean, this is kind of where it first started for me in my Star Wars fandom experience, but now it's commonplace where a new Star Wars movie comes out. There's going to be a lot of debate and fans kind of complaining about certain things. And Phantom Menace was the epitome of that when it came out in 1999. Obviously, it wasn't what a lot of fans were expecting. A lot of people were disappointed with it, but the movie did have its fans as well, and those who were looking forward to Episode 2, and those who were maybe hoping Episode 2 would be better than what the Phantom Menace was. So there was just a lot of different, I guess, views going into the movie as far as what people were expecting from it. But me, for someone who enjoyed the Phantom Menace when it first came out, but also understanding it wasn't going to be for everybody, but just being very excited for Episode 2, knowing just where the story was going to go, having an older Anakin, getting into the Clone Wars, and just couldn't wait to see what this next part in the prequel trilogy. And it all started I think even thinking back further than the trailers, really, just being super hyped in the year 2000 when they started filming. And just StarWars.com at that time was just having these little teases. There was these images called George Lucas Selects. I believe it was like every Tuesday or every Thursday they would release a new image. Some of them were a first look at some characters. I remember that was the first look I got of Anakin. And they tried to make it where certain shots would be blurry and like you couldn't see certain things in the background, and you can make out a character, but other things would be blurred out. Some of them would just be a nice clear image of a set or location. So there was a variety, but I remember that first one of just Anakin running and like the background's all blurred. It's from the shot where he's chasing Zam Wessel on the lower levels of Coruscant, but I didn't know that back then. It was just cool to see, oh, this is what Anakin's outfit's going to be. And getting those images every week were just such a cool way to build up the hype until we got our first look at the movie with the trailers in 2001. And that was an awesome time getting those first looks at Attack of the Clones with the trailers, because we actually got, which is no other Star Wars movie has done, getting 3 teaser trailers in like the span of a couple of weeks. It was just really exciting. I remember the first one, and they're all great too. The first one was just like 50 seconds. There's no dialogue. The name of the teaser is called Breathing, because you hear Darth Vader breathing and you just get quick shots of the movie. I mean, stuff to get you excited, like seeing Jango Fett fly off in his jetpack. You see Slave One. You get a first looks at the lightsaber battle. Just all this quick but awesome shots visually to get you really pumped for the movie. And then the second one was kind of a bonus feature that you had to unlock on the Phantom Menace DVD, because that 2001 was the first time a Star Wars movie was released on DVD with the Phantom Menace. And then later on that's when DVDs had special links to websites that you can only access from the disc. And from the Phantom Menace, when you were able to get a link to a episode 2 website that had the second trailer, which was Mystery. And that's where we got some dialogue and actually felt like a real teaser trailer. And that was great. And then I don't know if it was a week later or just a few days later, but then we got the Forbidden Love trailer, which focused more on the love story that we're going to see between Anakin and Padme. And they were just all great teasers, having their own elements. Like I said, that just got you excited for it, the movie coming out. And then the actual trailer that we got later in March was just awesome, because that one really delved into the Battle of Geonosis that we really didn't get a lot in those first 3 teasers. And seeing all that just blew me away. Just thinking, man, this Star Wars movie is really going to deliver that. We're seeing visuals and action sequences that we haven't seen in a Star Wars movie before. And that last trailer, it was just called Clone Wars, I believe, or Clone War. And it was just the ultimate way to get excited for the movie at that time for me. So my excitement level was through the roof. And that opening night, that was actually the first movie where I stayed in line for quite a few hours. I remember with Phantom Menace, it maybe got there maybe like an hour or two before the midnight showing. But for Attack of the Clones, I remember we were there probably like around 2:00, waiting outside in the theater for the midnight showing. And that's when you had to wait all day with no assigned seatings, no early screenings that started at 3:00 on the Thursday before. This is where you had to camp out if you wanted a good seat. It was just a fun time too. Hanging out with friends, just being super excited for the movie, and then just that moment where they finally let you into the theater about an hour before midnight, and just the excitement level that was built in there. It was just a lot of fun, and just seeing it for the first time, I loved it right away. It was exactly the Star Wars movie I was hoping it would be when I first saw it. And yes, I get the criticism that it has the Anakin and Padme scenes. There is some cringy dialogue in there. I'm not going to deny that. Some of the performances aren't the great in that moment. So I'll totally acknowledge that. So I'm not going to kind of have blinders on and say, oh, that was the great writing that Lucas and Jonathan Hales did and great performances there. No, I understand it.
I'm gonna have to interrupt you again.
Number 3.
No, I was just thinking about how I was just thinking about like Anakin and Padme and Shmi and even Ahsoka, and like this is a really complex thought for something that is essentially for kids, right? This movie's for kids, but the rise of fascism, right? The rise of fascism is always, we have to protect the women, the women and the children, right? We always have to protect the women and children. That is, sort of key in the rise of fascism. First we need to protect them by taking away their rights, right? And I feel like this is what George Lucas was trying to say with the all of that sort of weird dialogue in this movie. I know it's really cheesy and stiff, and you know, just I'll say it bad, just bad writing. But I think that's what he was trying to say. You know, like with the rise of fascism, or in this case, the rise of Palpatine and the Empire, right? It always begins with men trying to protect women, you know? And again, like I think that's what he was trying to say with all of this. And, you know, in a sense, it's kind of brilliant, especially if you factor in what happens in Revenge of the Sith, where, you know, Anakin is literally trying to save Padme from this future that he envisions, where she's in pain, or she dies, and you know, she's pregnant, and all of these things, right? So like the rise of fascism begins with one wanting to protect women and children, and I don't know, it's not a thing that gets talked about in, you know, like the in Star Wars, but because it is so bad, written so bad. But I don't know, just looking back, it's sort of brilliant how George Lucas sort of put this in place, even though it wasn't the greatest thing. But you know, it's sort of like he understood the beginnings of fascism, and like what like the idea behind it. You know, you got to protect these women and children by, you know, doing what I think is correct, and not asking their opinion how they feel unsafe, right? And doing my own thing, and in the end, hurting them and killing them. So yeah, that's I don't know. I just thought that was brilliant. That's a thought that came into my head like a while ago, and I've been thinking about it. It's like, wow, he put that in a movie that came out in what, 2002, and you know, like, it's, I don't know, it's just so brilliant in my opinion. I know people give it, especially Attack of the Clones, they give it, you know, a lot of crap, right? And a lot of people criticize Anakin for the way he treats Padme, especially in Revenge of the Sith. But it's that mindset, where it's that fascist mindset where, like, you know, I have to protect the women and children. I have to protect the women and children because they can't protect themselves, and only I know what's right. And this is what I'm going to do. And you know, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, Dane, I didn't necessarily think of that direction when talking about the dialogue of Anakin hating sand and saying how he
Sure.
can't breathe around
Sure.
Padme. How
Yeah,
it's part
sure.
of so, but I was definitely a perspective I never thought about, but one that kind of, when you look at the deeper layers of it, that kind of plays true to what eventually happens, like I said, with Anakin and Padme's relationship. But yeah, but even so, with some of those scenes in dialogue, and I will even say too that not all the Anakin and Padme scenes are bad. I mean, there's some that are good. I think the one where they're at the Meadow Picnic, where they're talking about politics, is a really great one. And then on the refugee shuttle, had some great moments too. So I'm not just going to say that all the Anakin and Padme scenes were just awful. There's definitely some good ones in there. But even with some of that rough dialogue in moments there, the movie just has so much more. It's so much more than that. It has so much more going for it with the story. I still maintain that it's one of the best Star Wars or stories in a Star Wars movie, with the mystery surrounding who's trying to kill Padme, and then Obi-Wan realized, oh, there's someone created a secret army for the Republic, and just how, I bet we don't know it while we're watching it, and not till some years later with Revenge of the Sith and stuff we learned in Clone Wars, but just how brilliant of a plan Palpatine had. And it was just all introduced in this movie here, and loving it also too for introducing one of my favorite aspects of all of Star Wars, which is the clones and the stories that came afterwards with this, and just how tragic their story is and their role that they had to play in being manipulated by Palpatine for this war and just kind of be disregarded by so many, and just seeing everything they went through in the Clone Wars, it makes their story. I've said it many times before, like the clones are just one of the best aspects of Star Wars, just how tragic their story is in the grand scheme of things of what Palpatine had planned for the galaxy and for him to rise to power. And then you just get into the cool bits as for Star Wars fans, seeing, like I said in the trailer, the start of the Clone Wars with the Battle of Geonosis. That was just amazing all the way around. The arena battle, the Jedi in action, seeing the clone troopers and just an all-out war. I still think that is the action sequence that best puts the war in Star Wars. It's just a really, really great sequence. And then you top it off with the lightsaber battles with Anakin and Obi-Wan and Dooku. But then, of course, the highlight, Yoda versus Dooku, which was one of the first, not the first, because the first cheering moment I said before was when in the Fellowship of the Ring where Aragorn chopped out the head of the Uruk-hai. that was like the first cheer I remember experiencing at the theater, but that wasn't as loud as the one that Yoda got in that lightsaber battle. It just blowing the roof off the place with the reaction everyone had. He didn't even ignite his lightsaber yet. Just hearing him and seeing him walk into that room and just people knew what was coming. That was a great bit too, where the marketing and all the trailers and stuff, they did not show a hint of Yoda using the lightsaber. But for those who were closely following the movie, you knew it was going to happen. Lucas made some hints about it. And back then, that was where I was really reading rumors and not full-blown spoilers, but I read quite a bit on Attack of the Clones. So I knew that Yoda fight was coming, but still not having seen anything about it, getting the chance to finally see that battle ensue on screen for the first time was a moment I will never forget as a Star Wars fan. It was just insane. And then just the buzz in the theater afterward, just everyone felt like everyone in the theater left on a high note. Totally different from the Phantom Menace, where just such a mixed reaction. But with this one, like, felt like everyone was in Star Wars heaven right after the movie ended. And it was kind of one of those things where afterwards is when I kind of found out, oh, it's not everyone's happy about it. That's kind of what really sank into me, where there's going to be a Star Wars movie that's not going to be pleasing to everyone. Of course, that's the case with anything, but I was really surprised at the amount of backlash this one got, because I thought it totally kind of fixed, I don't want to say fixed, but the problems that people had with the Phantom Menace, I thought this one would deliver for them, and I found out that it didn't. Later on, I then come to realize years later how this is actually, some people consider it to be worse than the Phantom Menace, which I do not agree with, but because I always see it's on the bottom list of so many people's Star Wars rankings. Attack of the Clones is usually the last one on there, and I just go, really? It's like sometimes I feel like I'm watching a different movie, or it's like they just focus on a few cringy moments here and there, and that ruins the whole experience for it, where I just feel there's just so much more to the movie than for the amount of flack that it gets. But that's me. I can't change the way other people feel about it, but I'm just glad this movie exists. I feel it definitely is one of the more important movies in the Star Wars saga for how it moves the stories forward. I feel it's the most underrated one, but regardless, I loved it. I loved it when I first saw it back in 2002, and I continue to love it 20 years later, which I still find hard to believe. And that's kind of what started, like I said, it was the launching point for so many future great Star Wars stories, not just with Revenge of the Sith, but all the stuff we got in the Clone Wars that helped make this era of Star Wars, the prequel and the Clone Wars era, my favorite of the entire saga, and the one I find the most interesting and compelling. And I felt Attack of the Clones is the launching point for all that amazing stuff that we got. So yeah, 20 years of Attack of the Clones. Hard to believe, but it's been a great 20 years having this movie around and just being part of the Star Wars saga. And I just watched it last weekend as I'm for both to celebrate this 20 years, but also getting more hyped up and watching a lot of all the prequels and some Clone Wars before Obi-Wan Kenobi premieres next week. So and it was just a great time watching that. I watched Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones back to back, and today I'll be continuing that with a watch of the Siege of Mandalore arc and then Revenge of the Sith. So another double feature Star Wars event is going on for me tonight. But Attack of the Clones, yeah, it was just great watching it again. Don't know how many times I've seen it, because I've seen it a bunch in the last 20 years, and I know that will be the case moving forward. So Attack of the Clones, happy 20th anniversary.
Yeah. Attack of the Clones and The Last Jedi is why I don't consider myself a Star Wars fan, even though,
You keep saying that, Dane. I keep
Yeah.
telling you are a Star Wars fan, regardless
Yeah,
of
but-
how you feel about certain things might be different. If you like it, you like it.
Well,
You're a fan.
I mean, I guess it's because like I can look at things objectively and be like, oh, okay, my two favorite, and they go back and forth, Star Wars movies, or The Last Jedi and Attack of the Clones. I can't pick one. It's between these two, and just the amount of hate that these two movies get. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I can't consider myself a part.
So you're saying I'm not a Star Wars fan either because I don't hate those movies? Is that what you're saying? Too?
Despite what you said, because you also like what people consider, or Star Wars fans consider, to be the best Star Wars movie, which is Empire, right?
Mhm.
So I love Empire, but for me it's The Last Jedi or Attack of the Clones, and just the amount of hate that those two movies get is the reason why I don't consider myself a Star Wars fan, because I love these two movies, and it's hard for me to pick a winner or pick a number one. So yeah, that's the reason why. So that's why I love this movie. It's like people hate it. So what? I find that I find so much that I love about this movie.
Oh, I'm right there with you. And do you remember your first experience watching it when it first came out in 2002? Do you remember seeing it opening night or opening weekend? Or did you see it a little bit later?
So I do actually remember seeing it. It was one of the last movies, believe it or not, that I saw at a drive-in movie theater.
Okay.
Yeah, so like we had this drive-in movie theater near my parents' house, and my mom had I don't know, it was either like a Tupperware thing or like something like that. Me and my dad had to leave the house because her and her friends were gonna like do something right at the house. So we went out, and then we decided to see Attack of the Clones. And to be honest, I don't really remember it at all. It's only after I became an adult that I truly appreciated it. Yeah.
But at least you can say you saw it in the theater, though. That's the important thing.
Yeah. Well,
so not even a little bit of the Yoda moment, if you remember, like hearing people's reaction in their cars.
I do remember the Yoda moment and being like, "Wait, what? He can fight?" Because my only experience with Yoda was Return of the Jedi, right? Like he just is there and he dies. So yeah, that was like what? He can fight? He has a lightsaber. So yeah, that is my memory. Also, I gotta ask you this, Tim. And you're probably the only person with this answer right off the top of your head. Was this the movie that when the home release came out, the commercial narrator said something like "Huda Man, Yoda Man"?
Yep.
It was this one, right?
It was this one.
I remember that.
I remember not being a fan of that commercial because it was like, first of all, that marketing line is terrible. Who's the man? Yoda Man. And then you see this terrible effect of, when Yoda's blocking Dooku's lightning bolts with his hand.
Yeah.
They have this terrible superimposed effect of Yoda doing that, but you see the DVD box set or the DVD box cover of Attack of the Clones. He's like moving it around. It was awful.
Oh man, I gotta look that up again.
Yeah, not the finest marketing moment for Star Wars. I will say that.
What are you talking about, Tim? That is the finest hour. Marketing has never. That was the pinnacle of marketing, Tim. I'm sorry. This is why I'm not a Star Wars fan, Tim, but that is the pinnacle of Star Wars marketing.
But well, I'll have to agree with you then on that one. Yes, you are not a Star Wars fan. I take back what I said. Also, too, they probably should be on YouTube. I'm not 100% sure, but look up those documentaries that were on the Attack of the Clones DVD. Those are some awesome stuff. Just the exclusives for the DVD, but then also the web featurettes that were also part of the lead up to episode 2 that they released every few months, which was great. It's just funny looking back 20 years ago, just Lucas again pioneering film technology with the use of digital filming, how episode 2 was the first one, and then you hear these like these old time film historians saying how digital's not going to work and it'll never be as great as film and all that. It was just crazy to look back at that time, just how such a unexplored territory it was in film, and just Lucas again pioneering and moving forward different technology to use for filmmaking. It's just great to look back at that stuff, and just great behind the scenes look. Those prequel DVDs, man, they really delivered on the bonus features, with the exception of Revenge of the Sith, where its main documentary was a little disappointing. But other than that, all the rest, those prequel DVDs, really were some of the best Star Wars documentaries that you're gonna get. So yeah, if you're still feeling nostalgic for Attack of the Clones and to celebrate its 20th anniversary, do yourself a favor and look up some of those documentaries that that were on the DVD at the time. They're just really, really great.
I think they're on the digital download of Attack of the Clones. Is
Some
it called
of them are
From Puppets to Pixels?
Yeah, that one's on there. That's definitely one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, state of the art previs of episode 2.
Because I know the Disney Plus special features, some stuff is on there, some stuff is not. I don't think the web documentaries are on there. So,
yeah, there's like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a
great.
Dexter. There's a Dexter Jetster maquette.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Oh,
yeah,
it's just like a
like a head bust that they have of all the different creatures. I know Dexter Jester was one of them that Lucas took a liking to.
Concept. The visual effects breakdown of
Yeah, so all that stuff is just great behind the scene. Like the Puppets to Pixel one's really great, as far as the animation director Rob Coleman really pushing for a CG Yoda and just how he really wanted to make it work, and just the work that had to be done by ILM to really convince Lucas and to make sure they could pull it off, and they did, because Yoda still looks great, and he has only gotten better in his subsequent appearances with Revenge of the Sith, and then going backwards with the CG Yoda for the Phantom Menace, which was miles above the puppet Yoda we got in that movie.
Is the novelization any good?
It is good, yeah.
Okay.
I listened to that I read the book and then I listened to the audiobook about 10 years ago, which probably due for another reread or listen to that. But yeah, I loved all the prequel novelizations, but Revenge of the Sith is the best one. It really goes into expands certain things. It just really gets into the mindsets of the characters like no other of the other prequel books did. It's Revenge of the Sith is a special one.
I see. Did you know that Attack of the Clones was outgrossed by Spider-Man and the Two Towers?
I did, yes. Spider-Man I knew right away because I was just such a blockbuster in every sense of the word, and kind of had a feeling that, especially with the reception that the Phantom Menace got, that Attack of the Clones probably would have beat Spider-Man. That was a good year for movies, though. Spider-Man, Attack of the Clones, The Two Towers.
How much did I want to say George Lucas, Peter Jackson add into the Two Towers? In the Two Towers, that battle scene in that pit or whatever.
In Helm's Deep.
Helm's Deep, yeah. How much was added onto that in the extended versions? Yeah.
Not too much, honestly. I don't think there's really too big of additions that were in the extended edition for that one.
So most of that, so most of that movie was that fight then. That
A
battle.
good portion of it in the theatrical cut, yeah, because a lot
Yeah.
was definitely added in the extended edition, but just not of that sequence.
Yeah, I see.
Mainly towards the end, where you see the trees take out the orcs at the end when Gandalf will rise.
Yeah.
I think
That was added in.
that was the main
Oh,
addition to that battle sequence.
I see.
So yeah, I guess that's our celebration of 20 years of Attack of the Clones. Again, I wanted to use every opportunity I can to celebrate what I feel is the most underrated Star Wars movie. So thanks for indulging me, Dane. And I'm glad you feel the same way about it as I do.
Yeah, I do. Also, if you haven't listened to it yet, the Wampa's Lair podcast,
Yeah, I know
they
they've been
did like
doing
a
some
3-part.
episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did like a three-parter on the first act, the second act, and third act of Attack of the Clones. I'd highly recommend it. Also, what I didn't know about the Wampa's Lair until now, which is weird because I've been listening to that show for a long time now. Uh, I didn't hear, I guess, or know that they add an echo effect to their voice.
Let's see, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and like they're in a cave or a lair. I didn't know that until recently. You know.
That makes sense. I mean, they're just hanging out in the Wampa's lair for so long.
Yeah.
Does have some echo, but that's pretty awesome. I didn't know that Jason and Carl did that, but
Yeah. Yeah. The things you can learn about something you've been listening to for the last, I don't know, 8 years, 10 years.
oh, should we add a vocal effect, Dane, to our show? Where are we hanging out doing this?
Dublin. So
right.
I don't know. Maybe we can do an Irish thing. So some kind of like Irish Celtic music behind us.
There you go. Maybe something like that. Then we'll get a copyright claim or something
Yeah.
on the episode where you can't use it. I guess we'll have our lawyers look into that. I mean,
Yeah.
been around the game 10 years. We we have this reputation we have to maintain, so we'll have our
Yeah.
lawyers look into that. So yeah, and one other thing I want to mention as far as news related, and we kind of missed this on our last episode after being gone for so long and just talking about the topics we did on that one. It was officially announced at CinemaCon probably a few months ago now, definitely a few weeks ago, about how Warner Brothers officially announced the sequel for the Batman 2. Or I don't think it's going to be called the Batman 2. I shouldn't even say that. The sequel to the Batman has officially been announced with Matt Reeves coming back as directing, Robert Pattinson back as Batman. And I guess the one thing, I don't want to say it's surprising, but was glad to hear that Zoe Kravitz will be back as well. So Catwoman will be featured in the sequel as well. Will be coming back with a sequel too, because there was the potential where we see her right off that was going to be it for Catwoman, and maybe it'll just focus on other characters and villains for the sequel. But definitely glad that she'll be back and playing a role in the sequel for the Batman, which was great news. Obviously not super surprising, but whenever you get those official announcements, it's always good. So that was awesome to get, and just to seen it again, where it's been on HBO Max now for about a month, and the 4K Blu-ray disc is finally coming out this week, and I can't wait to watch it again with that. But as kind of talked about, when I first saw it, I didn't love it like I was hoping to, but kind of suspected I'd probably come to appreciate and like it more every time I see it, and that's quickly becoming the case. Seeing it again at home, I just enjoying it more and more, and it's a great Batman movie, and I just think it's gonna age like a fine wine for me. I know it's already a fine wine for so many Batman fans, but I'm just coming to appreciate more and more what Matt Reeves did with it, especially getting to watch it at home on HBO Max. So definitely looking forward to more viewings once I get that 4K disc and exploring more of those special features, and just to be excited for the sequel once we get that, and excited to learn about more details on what it's going to be about and what villains we're going to see.
Yeah, noted the Batman hater, Tim.
See, that's the problem. No matter how much I grow to love the movie, that's always I'm gonna have that stigma now, just for
Yeah,
not feeling that way right away after seeing it for the first time.
yeah. I mean, Last Jedi was the first one.
hmm
I'm pretty sure we can come to agreement on that.
Yes.
Batman is the second one. So, noted Batman hater, noted the Batman hater, Tim, is your new title. That's going to be our our name for next year.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Batman hater Tim. Yes.
The
We'll see if we can
Batman.
remember that
Yeah.
by the time we get to 2023. So yeah, we got that news, and then not too much else. So one thing too, I'll mention real quick. We got a little bit of gameplay footage for Gotham Knights, the video game that keeps getting delayed, but they showed off some gameplay footage for Nightwing and Red Hood. It looks solid, but the one thing that stood out that I'm not really a super huge fan of is the way of transportation that the characters have to get from building to building. It seems a little strange for them, where they just can't use their grappling hook. They kind of made it a special point to have each character have their own unique abilities. I don't know if you saw any of the gameplay footage, Dane, that they released for it, but it's like Nightwing has like this big glider that he uses that he holds onto from the bottom and glides around to buildings. And then Red Hood hops on like these mystical energy fields since he's been brought back to life by the Lazarus Pit. That gives him mystical energy fields to hop on from building to building. I don't know, this sounds like a strange gimmick for them to put into this game, but other than that, it still looks solid. I'm more excited about it to get into the story dealing with the Court of Owls and just being able to play the different Bat family members co-op too, which should be a lot of fun. So it just I'll probably get more excited for the game once it's get closer to its release and we start seeing more of it. But it was good to see that footage, but at the same time, that one aspect of it seemed a little off to me. So, but I'm sure it won't be a huge deal, but it'll just something that might make you roll your eyes a bit maybe when you're seeing it. Like, was that really necessary to put in there? Um, so I don't know. So I guess they wanted to do something different.
Was the pre-order before the delay, or was the delay before the pre-order?
I think the delay was before the pre-order, but maybe that's
Hmm.
why they delayed it, because they had like a lot of different editions with that, if I remember right. Almost
Yeah.
like too many. They're super expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. So like for me, it's gonna be a wait and see thing. Like I'm gonna read the reviews before I buy it because, to be honest, I'm kind of not really excited about it. I mean, I know they're doing the team up thing, and it looks like an open world
Mhm.
game, sort of like the Arkham games, but like I, yeah, I just kind of don't have the excitement for it the way that you do, or
Yeah,
uh,
even my excitement level is not like through the roof for it right now. It's like the delays don't help. Well, let's be honest. That kind of kills the excitement. And not seeing too much of
yeah,
it. But so, like I said, I think maybe when it gets closer and we start seeing more of it, then maybe that hype level will be higher. Because right now,
yeah,
no video games on my hype level like the TMNT Cowabunga collection. I just can't wait for that release date to come out.
yeah.
Like,
I
just
know.
give me that, please.
Well, for me, it was that alpha footage that they released. Was that at a PlayStation event, or was that uh, like an E3 sort of thing? Or
I don't remember.
yeah, I can't remember, but like I just remember being like, oh my god, that does not look good.
I think the first,
You know,
like the DC fandom, I think had the first trailer for it and a little bit of gameplay footage, like when it was pretty early. I don't know if
yeah.
that's the one you're thinking of. But...
The one where like they're fighting in front of like a courthouse. It looks like, I don't know.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that was that didn't look good because it was all stuttery and like
Yeah. I
motion
remember what you're talking
blurry and
about.
stuff. Yeah, and I just remember like, wow, I can't believe they released that. I mean, why did they just wait until they got things more smoother, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially now that we know it's delayed, I mean, you have time, right? To work on that stuff. And I remember just being wholly unimpressed with it, and like being like, oh, it's just an Arkham sequel, right? And I was like, I don't know if I want to really dive into that. So for me, it's just going to be a wait and see. Wait for the reviews before you order, buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully, I at least hope the delay is a big reason to polish all that stuff up, because that'd be a major disappointment if they didn't fix that type of stuff, which I think they did, because the footage they showed off this past week looked so much better than what that initial footage was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's definitely stepped up a bit. But yeah, it's a wait and see. Maybe wait for the Tim review. I don't know.
yeah,
But
I'm
you
more
also
likely to
said
be getting
you're
it when
not.
it comes out, unless it just gets
Oh.
really bad scores. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Did you see Morbius?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I'll be waiting
I was
just to whatever streaming service it ends up on.
Yeah.
I'll check it
I
out.
was just wondering if you did. Like, is it a good bad or is it a bad bad? You know, like,
Yeah.
can I have fun with it? Or
To me, I kind of hear it's a bad where it's like boring and not really great.
yeah.
But there are certain elements that kind of look ridiculous that might make it a bad good. So I don't know.
It. I don't know. I mean, it's like you haven't seen it, but like, is it sort of like Marvel's attempt at a Batman movie? Yeah,
I don't think
it's kind of what it looked
so.
like.
No, I didn't get
So,
that vibe at all. He may have the powers of a bat, but it definitely it doesn't look like a Batman movie.
I thought being the diehard Marvel fan that you are, I thought you would have dove in there and been there.
I'm
The
just that
premiere.
way with the MCU films, 'cause I'm so invested in that universe. But when it's these one-offs that, especially with Sony, who doesn't really know what to do with their Spider-Man characters, those are the ones I'll just wait and see if I'm not interested in the character. Like Morbius, I always knew of the character, and his ties to Spider-Man. I've never really been a big fan of his. So then when I heard the movie was just kind of average to not
Yeah.
that great, it's like I'll just wait till whenever I see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. To me, it just seems like a Man-Bat movie, right?
Yeah, probably is kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But Man-Bat will at least visually look more interesting than Morbius did, because I would love to see a live action Man-Bat. He would look pretty awesome.
I'm so curious about what the CGI looks like in that movie.
Probably
Yeah.
probably not the best. It's going to compare it to other big superhero movies.
Yeah. I saw a thing where it's like, is Tom Holland going to be back as Spider-Man? Yeah, he's going to be back. Of course he is. I mean, that's without a given, right?
You would assume so right now. But even though, despite
Yeah.
his comments saying like, I don't know what the future is going to hold, or I need a break, like I get, and he deserves a break, but I totally with you. I believe he's going to be back. They'll make it work somehow.
Yeah. Because, I mean, this is isn't this the second time? Like, oh, is there going to be another Spider-Man movie? Well, wasn't that after Far From Home?
No, we knew there was going to be another Spider-Man movie. Just wouldn't know if it would be in the MCU and have the partnership with Disney and Sony. Because it could have just been a third one made by Sony, which that wouldn't have been good. Especially knowing how amazing No Way Home is. So glad they were able to work that out. At least partner up for one more movie.
Yeah. Okay, so sort of off topic from what we've been talking about, but I'm going to be on Twitter a lot more. Not because, I have anything to say or anything, but the Kenobi show is coming out in about a week. And so, like, we're going to go into overdrive on the sort of random. We're taking one thing from one interview.
Your
And,
favorite headlines, right?
Right. Yeah, like writing a
they're already
giant
here.
meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, really? What have you seen?
Well, mainly from that Vanity Fair article, like people taking different topics, like quotes, making them big stories. Like Director Deborah Chow describes Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship as a love story. Or Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau fought ferociously over including Grogu in The Mandalorian. It's just typical clickbait headline stuff. It just makes me roll my eyes. And yeah, there's some of that stuff is said, but when you read it in context, it's not like the big shocking revelation that these headlines are trying to make you believe. Like Anakin and Obi-Wan, a love story. Yeah, you could obviously the relationship. Obi-Wan says, "You're my brother, Anakin. I loved you." I mean, it's there, but these certain people are just trying to make it like these clickbait headlines to make people go, "What?" and just try to rile people up. It seems like.
In what sense?
Just make it. Oh, someone said this, or there's director said this, or they had this fight. Like, what's going on? It's that type of scenario stuff.
Yeah. So this is my favorite time of the year, or favorite time of when movies or TV shows come out. So, yeah.
So yeah, you'll be in for a lot. Each week, I'm sure there'll be a headline. But yeah, I guess with that's going to do it for this episode. So as always, Dane, I'll go ahead and throw it to you for the outro.
All right, go over to the BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/TheBatmanUniverse. Twitter handles at Bat-Fans Batman Universe, sorry. The show's Twitter handles at Bat-Fans Podcast. Tim's Twitter handles at TimG311. My Twitter handles at DaneSaysBanana. Rate and reviews on iTunes. You can email the show at batfansoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, like we say in every single episode, Tim.
We love each and every one of you with all of our Attack of the Clones loving hearts for the last 20 years.
See you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody.